reach out for you. We'll be there for you. If you have any questions, he gave you the card. You know, don't hesitate to give us a call. We'll end this interview at 22:04. It's 4:25:09. The time is 22:11 hours. And my name is Detective Sergeant Spagel, and this is Detective John Peters, and you're Jennifer Brown, right?
Yes.
And Jennifer, you know you're being recorded right now?
Yes.
Okay. We're just here to talk about what incident today that you witnessed.
Okay.
Okay. Can we start? Where were you at today when this all happened?
Between 19th and 20th of Franklin Avenue, I was in between the yard in the house that my dad had just bought. He was remodeling the back wall on the garage.
What time did you get over there today?
What time did I get there?
Hmm.
I'd say it was probably 7:40, quarter to 8. He called me and asked me to get him come down and get him a couple 2x4s. Thought he needed a couple more. And I went and I got him and I brought him back to him. Then I walked up, got 2x4s for him. And Vinny walked over and handed him a plate of food from the barbecue. And my dad, you know, he had a couple beers, so.
Your dad did?
Yeah. So he wasn't, you know, really hungry at that point in time, you know. And so
Do your yards connect or something?
he owns from 19th to 20th and halfway into the block minus 2 houses. So we walked over.
What's your dad's name?
Vernon.
Vernon. V-E.
R-N-O-N. And then we walked over to his house. And,
To Benny's house?
No, we walked to my dad's house.
Oh, okay.
Which is 1909 Franklin Avenue.
And that's where you're doing the work at?
Nope, it was,
Oh.
the house is on 20th Street.
Okay.
He had just bought in the house, and then it got to be gutted and redone and so on and so forth.
Okay.
But at this point in time tonight, he was redoing the garage.
Okay.
There was a back wall that he was redoing on the garage. I don't know the exact address of that house though. So we walked over to his house at 1909 Franklin Avenue, and we sat there for a minute. We walked back, and we were talking for a minute, and you know, he was like, "Oh, proud of his work, you know, shake this 2x4, you know." And he looked,
Your dad
how
saying
solid it is. Yeah, my dad was saying that to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we were sitting there and we were talking, and then like I just seen my dad's head just turn, and like trying to talk to him, and I'm looking at him like, dang, he's not paying attention to me, you know. And I look, Dad, Dad, what are you looking at? What's going on?
What time is this around?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
That's right.
Honestly, don't know. I didn't really look at my clock. So I was standing there and I asked my dad why he wasn't paying attention to me, and all my dad said was that guy's got a gun. So I kind of moved out a little bit because I was kind of standing in the corner of the garage, you know. And plus there was a tree there. There was a tree a couple yards away that was pretty much in my way too. You know, I moved over a little bit and I looked, and this kid was in blue shirt, khaki pants.
Blue shirt, khaki pants.
Shorts or pants?
Shorts, sorry.
Shorts.
Khaki shorts. And he was holding a gun.
How big was he? How tall? Anything like that?
He was a bigger build. I'd say he was about 5'3".
So you're saying short? How tall are you?
I'm 5'2".
Is he
I
taller than
would
you?
say he was about my height, maybe a little bit taller. So I'd say anywhere between 5'2" and 5'4" is where I would put him. I mean, I was so far away.
How far away approximately?
I'd say probably about 4 car lengths.
You say bigger build, like fat, chunky, husky?
More, honestly, I don't know. I mean, he pretty much bigger shirt, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's hard to tell.
Okay.
You know, if I had to guess his weight, I would probably put him about 185. So as my dad said, he's got a gun. I looked out and I seen the kid in the blue shirt and khaki shorts holding a gun. And I seen this other kid at the time, I didn't know who it was, who was wearing a white shirt. And he had shorts on, I don't remember what color they were. The kid was holding the gun straight up to his face. And the kid was, you know, they were bickering back and forth. I didn't hear anything that they said. I was way too far away.
How close were they
was
to each other?
it at his face or he's pointing
They
at
were
his face?
they were about a car length away when it started. And
When you start seeing them?
they were about a car length away when I first seen them. And they were bickering.
What's the guy with the gun doing?
Just, he was on the phone, bickering, pointing a gun at him, you know? And I seen Jay's brother, which at the time I didn't know who it was, now I know. You know, I seen Vinny's brother, it was Jay. Seen Vinny's brother walking towards him, and the kid was kind of backed up a little bit. So Jay was walking towards him a little bit more, and then the kid started coming towards him. And they were still screaming at each other. And Jay, as the gun was pointed at his face, Jay took his hand and he went like this to try to smack the gun. And he hit his arm right here, which lowered his hand. And at that point he shot. And at that point, my heart fell to my stomach and my body just went cold. And it was in the middle of the street when it started. And Jay ended up on the side of the road in my dad's grass. And
He smacked his hand down?
he went to go smack his hand and he must have just hit his arm and went down. They were that close.
And then how long after that did he shoot him?
It was an instant. As soon as bang, as soon as he hit his arm, he hit the trigger. All I heard was pop,
One shot?
one shot. And then he just stood there. Kid that shot him just stood there, talking on the phone, you know? I don't know what he did with the gun. At that point, like, I just seen the kid, he just stood there like he didn't even do anything, you know? And
Was he still pointing a gun?
that's when Vinny came running out and he actually pointed the gun at Vinny.
So Vinny came running out at that time?
Vinny came running out, yes. Vinny came running out into the middle of the street, and he started going towards his brother, and the kid was pointing the gun at Vinny. And the kid, I don't know what the kid was saying. Like I said, I was far away. And Vinny screamed, you know, "That's my brother, that's my brother." I heard Vinny scream because he was screaming at the top of his lungs, and I did. And Vinny was like, "You shot my brother." You know, and Vinny's like, "Go get my gun. Go get my gun. You shot my brother. You shot my brother." And, you know, of course, at that point in time, it hit him that he had already been, it hit Vinny that his brother had already been shot and was laying on the ground. And like I said, the kid that shot him was just standing there. Like he didn't even do anything. Like he was a witness, you know? And Vinny ran up to his brother and he was screaming, somebody call 911. And at that point in time, I was already on the phone. My dad was on the phone, and I'm sure everybody that was at his party was already on the phone. There was probably a neighbor that was on the phone, you know. So we were standing there. My dad starts walking towards him as Vinny is out there, and the guy's got the gun pointed at Vinny. My dad starts walking up the yard, and I'm screaming, "Dad, no! Dad," because that's the last thing I would have needed to see, you know. "Dad, don't do it." Dad would stop, think about it for a second, walk up a couple more steps. I'm like, "Dad, don't do it," you know? So we stopped. And then the lady that lived next door to that big empty lot, who, according to my dad, apparently is a nurse for a prison or something, she came running out along with a guy, I believe it was, and she ran up, and Vinny was there, so it was Vinny and that lady was there, and then like there was 5 people around them. And as soon I didn't move from the garage until I seen the cops.
Did you ever see where he put the gun at after the shoot?
No,
Do you see how long he was holding the gun on Vinny?
honestly, no.
You don't remember, it's hard to
I
gauge the time frame?
all I know is all I know is he was pointing the gun at Vinny, because he was basically in my tree view. His body was in the tree, and his hands were sticking out of the tree, because like the dispatchers were like, "Whoa, go in the house." You know what I mean? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be like a witness to this, you know what I mean? So I just kind of went like around the corner and was still kind of peeking out, just, you know, to see what was going on.
Did you actually see the shooting though? You had a good...
I actually seen the shot, yes.
There's nothing was in your way at that time?
No,
Clear view?
clear view.
How far away were you at that point? That point?
I was still in the garage, but I was moved over away from the tree. Yes, I did see the shot, and I did see him get hit, and I did see him stumble over and land in my dad's yard.
And when you were about 4 car lengths away at that time?
Yes.
How many steps did he take before he fell?
I'd say about 3 or 4. About 3 or 4. And he landed.
So from where he got shot
landed
to
on
where
his
he
side. Yeah.
from where he landed, 6 feet, 7 feet away. I haven't been up there, so I'm just trying to envision.
Yeah.
I'd probably say, if you say that wall's in the middle of the road, I'd probably say the yard was about right here.
When he slapped the gun and the shot got fired, they're still in the middle of the road?
Yes.
Okay.
He stumbled to the side of the road and fell in the grass, and he fell on his side.
Did you hear anything beforehand? Any cars racing up and down the road? Did you hear any yelling or screaming?
No.
No?
No.
So the first thing that brought your mind, your eyes to this was your dad kind of just looking.
My dad, the first thing that brought my eyes to this was my dad saying he's got a gun.
Okay.
And my dad did scream from the garage. We were still in the garage. My dad could just tell that he was going to shoot him, you know. And my dad screamed twice, "Don't do it. Don't do it."
You think you heard him?
Honestly, I don't think he heard him. I think he was too caught up in what he was doing and with the kids' adrenaline rush with everything that was going
Do
on.
you think he was close enough to hear him though?
Only 4 car lengths.
Yeah.
I think he was close enough to hear him, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I mean, I think he was close enough to hear him because, yes, my dad did scream it. And if I could hear Vinny screaming what he was screaming, I know darn well that kid heard him.
Okay.
Should have heard him. I mean, like I said, I think the kid was too into the mix to even, you know what I mean?
Too focused.
He said don't do it?
My dad said, "Don't do it," twice. screamed it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And then the gun went off. And my dad started walking forward and I'm
Can you
like,
describe the gun at all?
it was, I know it was black. That's all I know. I know it was black and I know, the only thing I just heard pop. I seen the little spark that comes at the end of the gun when you shoot it.
Anything else you know?
Well, I didn't see anything prior.
All right, would you get a good view of his face?
He had dark hair. Looked like he needed a haircut, to be honest with you. He was white. His face was a little battered.
If you saw him again, you know you can recognize him?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You might want to do to help yourself out too is, kind of write, when you go back home, just write it down and help you, if you think, whatever might pop in your mind. All right? Well, it is the interview 5:09. The time is 22:38 hours. My name is Detective Sergeant Spagel, and this is Detective John Peters in the room, and we're with Amanda Hayes, right? Amanda, you're being recorded right now?
Yep.
Okay, anything you said is going to be recorded, all right? We just want to talk about, you were over at a barbecue?
Yeah,
Over whose house?
Vinny Sack, Jade's brother.
When did you get over today?
6:30.
And you're friends with Vinny?
Friends with Vinny, Jay, everybody there.
You just a family friend?
Yeah,
Did you come there by yourself?
with my 2 kids.
Okay. And what happened tonight about in regards to this incident?
It was getting a little chillier. I don't even remember what time this was actually, but I was going out to the car with my 2 kids to get their jacket on and their pants and their socks and sneakers other than the sandals and all that. And I
So you're going out to your car, you have to brought your own,
Right, my car was parked on the side of the road, which it still is. And
on which street?
20th, East 20th, and I had the passenger's door open, and I was kind of just changing my daughter in the front seat. I handed my son his jacket, but he stayed there with us. At that time, I saw Jay come down the driveway and go, I'm assuming because we were all talking about how it might rain, it was getting chilly, I assumed he had a T-top there, he was going to go, put the windows up, put the T-top back up, whatever. And,
So when he's walking down the driveway, Vinny's driveway?
right. So far, it's just me and Jay and my kids out there. Like, nobody, that guy, the one witness was all the way across the yard, but, we're not thinking anything. And then I started noticing, the dude stopped and got out, and then I heard, yelling, and I heard the dude...
Do you know why he stopped?
I know Jay for a long time. I'm really assuming he said to slow down, because I remember the guy went going by kind of fast.
Oh, you saw him drive? You saw the guy stop driving?
Yeah, well, I looked up. I was changing my daughter, and I looked up, and then I saw him get out of the car, and they were arguing, and I was looked back.
Let's back up a little bit. When you said you saw him driving, which way was he driving? Was he driving towards the lake?
This guy came driving east, on East 20th.
Oh, so he's on 20th.
Yeah,
So the guy was driving on East 20th, heading towards Franklin Avenue,
away from,
driving east.
yeah. And so I would say I was probably...
Was he going fast?
honestly, like I said, I was changing my kids. Something made me look up. He must have, it wasn't like I can even recall because I'm sitting there trying to trust a kid, and I'm not paying attention. My son's talking to me, and I look up, and because I hear them arguing is what really made me look woke up, and I heard the guy say, "Don't you come any closer," the guy with the gun. And when I had noticed that he had a
He
gun.
stated it to Jason, don't come in closer.
Yeah. And I saw him standing there with the gun, and at that moment I knew that one door was open for like a shield, and my son was walking to the back of the car like away from the shooter, but I was like, get back here, and I had him duck, I'm not knowing.
How far do you think you are? How many cars away?
How many cars away from the guy? I was probably a good 6 cars away from it, although, I wasn't super close, but I mean, it's scary to where I think if I'm gonna grab my kids and run, then this guy might shoot at me, I don't know. And I have kids that are very young, 4 and 2, I'm not. I have to scoop him up, and then as soon as I saw him with the gun, I just had an eerie feeling. I felt something bad was going to happen. My phone was sitting right like that on the passenger seat, and I picked it up and dialed 911 before the gun even went off. When the gun went off, at that point, I was crouching with my kids, like hovering over them, and when I heard the gunshot, I was like, sat there and kind of waited for more before I got up.
Did you actually see him shoot him?
Did not exactly see the shot come out and all that, no, but when I got up, Jay had just dropped like in the grass, and I'm assuming he staggered there because it was actually they were in the street, But I didn't see that because, like I said, I was waiting for. I didn't know what was gonna happen. It was very scary.
So you're covering up your kids when the shot went off.
Yeah.
Is that it?
And the 911
Still
call was
911.
ringing.
Okay.
It rang quite a bit first.
Oh, it's ringing before.
As soon as
when
I saw
shot
the
went
gun, I was like, I'm calling 911, I'm calling police, or like something, and I sat there and I remember trying to think of your 870-1125 number, and I'm like, you know what, 911, like, it took me even a second, I was just like, I couldn't believe it.
So it went off before you even got through?
Right, as it was called, so I could tell you an exact time if I looked at the phone.
Were you there outside when the police arrived?
Yeah.
Did you see the police take the guy away or put him in a
Yeah.
police car? Is that the same guy
Oh yeah.
that had the gun out?
Oh yeah, he was by himself.
Can you describe him?
He was like a husky, kind of heavy white guy, brown hair. I want to say like bluish eyes because I looked at him like when he was getting in the cop car and I couldn't even.
What'd you say about his hair?
It was like light brown. It's kind of spiky. I was more concerned about Jay. I couldn't keep my eyes off Jay at that
Was he
point.
tall, short?
I would say like 5'9", 5'10", 10-ish. I don't really know.
Weight approximately?
Oh, I'm really bad at that, but like probably like 190, 200 pounds. Like he was husky.
How about the clothing?
He had on a blue t-shirt with I think like white lettering. I really didn't notice anything else.
You see the gun?
I did
What color was that?
black.
You know what type of gun it was?
No, it was a little handgun. I'm not good with guns.
You know it was a revolver. You know the difference between a revolver and a semi-automatic?
I wasn't that close.
So it was a black small gun.
The pop was kind of not very loud, but loud. I don't know how to describe it. Like almost like stunning. I couldn't believe.
Did you hear any words being exchanged besides "Don't come any closer"?
No, because at that point I was yelling from my car toward the house, help, 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 for one of them to do something, and the kids started to come out, and I told them, you get back in the yard, and then that's when Vinny came and saw the guy, and then I was worried for him because he went running past me, and I thought, oh God, this can get so bad.
Was Jason's car, his is parked, just to help me out, because we haven't been up there yet. Vinny's house, so Vinny lives on 20th?
Right.
Is Vinny's house on the north side or the south side of the street?
It would be on the south side.
On the south side of the street. Was Jason's car parked on the same side of the street?
No. The guy that's out there, one of the witnesses now, it's his yard, and he's really cool with the neighbors, and he lets us park there when we have, get-togethers and stuff. Like, he has
So
a long time
it wasn't even on their street?
It wasn't even on the street. It was actually, here's the street like this, and Jay's car's parked like this, not even parallel with the street. It's
Okay.
a blue,
So
like...
there's no way that Jason's car could block the road?
None, no.
Okay. And the only thing that first brought your attention to this guy was
I just heard
his
yelling.
car? Oh, you said something about the car.
Well, that's because I was looking down, changing my daughter, and it's like, your surroundings, and I know a car went by.
Oh.
you know, and it kind of was fast, and then, like, I just heard words. It really happened so fast, and of course, nobody's expecting this. This is just the craziest thing I've ever seen in all my life. I think it's insane. I don't know what would possess a person to do this.
So the point, the time frame when Jason would walk down the driveway until he was actually shot, what's the time frame on that?
Oh,
I know it's kind of hard.
yeah, but I'm pretty good with my time consolation. I would say it's under 2 minutes. You know, under maybe even, yeah, it was just under 2 minutes, I would say, because they were arguing. I mean, from the point that he walked past me in the driveway to that point, because, you know, he obviously walked down the street a little. But if a guy's pointing a gun at me, I'm not quite sure I'd be walking toward them. It was all kind of really scary, and you can't, you know, think fast enough at a time like that. All I could think is, well, here's my kids, and that's my first priority right now.
What do you think, Joe?
Let me just check over this real quick. The only words you can really remember is "don't come any closer."
Yeah.
I mean, there's arguing and bickering or whatever, but
Yeah,
that's
but
the only
you
thing that
don't
really stood out.
hear what, you know? It's just, I remember hearing, don't come any closer. Of course, I want to hear, somebody said put the gun down. I don't know if it was him, if it was Jay, like
Was that after the shot or before the shot?
Before, like, then when I heard, because I remember when I heard the word gun, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like real, that really is a gun. I just saw him holding, like, it just didn't make sense to me, but I don't know. I just wanted to get on the phone with you guys and the ambulance, because I just felt like something bad was going to happen, you know. And even if nothing bad did happen, you can't just pull guns on people in the middle of the street. That's not cool, right? I mean, like, he could have gotten in trouble for that.
Anything else you can think of that we probably should know about? Any words being exchanged?
You ever seen him pointing the gun at Vinny?
No, oddly enough, no. It was really, he was kind of strange, because once he shot Jay, yeah, he was on the phone, and I thought I heard him say I didn't mean to shoot him, actually, but he still had his gun, and it just wasn't up anymore, just like here. And then, I don't know, I was trying to see if the gun was still in his hand, obviously, so that I could make a break to get these kids in the house, you know. I just wanted to know if I was going to get shot at or not.
So were you laying in the car? You said you're covering the kids?
Okay, here's my car seat, okay? And my daughter was here, my son was sitting outside the car, and I just grabbed them, and like I was down and my door was open, so it was like...
So you're kneeling on the road, on the street?
I'm on the side of 20th, on the south side of the street, like right by Vinny's house, half on the sidewalk, and my door open, and like all of everything's going on over there. So if that gives you a better idea.
So the kids are in the car?
My daughter's on the seat. And then I kind of got her out of the seat to get her down next to me, and my son's next to me, and we're kind of crouching to where the guy could probably see our feet, you know, if, maybe not though, because of the angle that he was, I don't really know.
So you guys are all behind the car door.
Right.
Okay. He ever say anything to you, the guy who shot? Did you ever yell anything to him?
I flipped him off.
Afterwards or
He
before?
was in the police car. He was in the police car.
Oh. Okay, but nothing up there, you ever yelled?
I didn't get close enough because as soon
Okay, thanks.
as I was like getting close to one officer took me to the side and wanted to talk to me because somebody said that I was right there.
We'll probably get a hold of you.
I understand.
Did we give you a card or anything? If you think of anything, you know, let me in his interview right now. It's 2251.
All right, today's date is April 25th, 2009. Time is 23 hours. Present on camera is Vernon Brown. And Vernon, are you aware that you're being audibly and visually recorded right now?
Yes.
And you consent to this videotape statement?
Yes.
All right, and this is a voluntary statement you were a witness to a shooting that took place up in the 2200 block of East 20th Street today.
That's correct.
Basically, if you could, in your own words, explain to us what you saw, what you heard at the time, or what brought you there.
Okay. In that neighborhood, I live on 1909 Franklin, right down there on the corner between 19th and 20th. And I own the 6 lots across the front and the 4 lots down the side of the road. And I just purchased the house and an extra lot adjacent to my other lots at the tax sale, and I've been working on the house and the property over there, and I had to tear the back wall off the garage, so I was reframing the wall to the garage over there, and those lots are 120 foot deep, and I'm about 15 feet from the end of the lot, and then what I saw occur was right in the middle of the street there on 20th Street, so it was about 145 feet away from where I was at. I had the radio playing in the house on the back porch, and I was in the garage working, and I had my daughter run to get me a couple 2x4s because I thought I was running out. In the meantime, I see all these kids up and down the side of the road playing, and my neighbor, Vinny Sack, was having a little picnic, and all the people that come to his house usually park in my side lot, and there's always a bunch of cars there, and there's always, usually when they're having something going on there, there's a bunch of kids running around in the neighborhood. And while I'm doing this, my daughter runs to the thing to get the 2x4s and comes back, and Vinny brought me over a plate of food because they were having a picnic. I said, okay. I says, well, I'm busy doing this, and he went back into his house, so I took the plate of food into the house, covered it up, put it in the refrigerator, and I went back out their garage, and I grabbed a beer because I had a couple beers while I was working on my garage, and walked back over and was showing my daughter the work that I did and everything I tore out. And we're sitting there talking, and I look over, and I see this kid standing out in the middle of the street with his car door open, pointing a gun. And I looked, and I heard some yelling, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? I looked over, and I seen this kid walking towards him, and they were probably 25, 30 feet away.
Which kid did you see walking towards?
The kid with the white shirt. I thought it was Vinny, but Vinny
Okay.
came over, didn't have a t-shirt on when he came over to bring me the plate of food, and this kid had a white t-shirt. And I didn't recognize the kid because he looked like Vinny, but I knew it wasn't him because he was a little bigger, and he had a t-shirt on, and I just saw Vinny a couple minutes before, and he didn't have a t-shirt on. So I'm thinking this is one of the kids that's at his picnic. So I see him walking towards the kid that's holding the gun, and I'm thinking, what's going on here?
Was he walking, I mean, if he was walking from the...
From Vinny's garage west, from where the kid parked in the middle of the street with his door open towards the east. He's standing out almost to the end of his car pointing a gun, and this kid's walking up and they're jawing to each other. And I don't know what was said because my radio is playing, but I heard him yelling and I heard something going, and I'm thinking, normally what happens is people turn that corner and they come through that neighborhood and they're speeding, and when the kids are out there, they're usually yelling to them to slow down. I'm thinking, this kid probably yelled to him to slow down or something. Now this kid got out and pulled a gun. So I'm looking, I'm thinking, what's going on here? So I look over and they're jaw-jacking and I hear them yelling, but I can't exactly hear what they're saying. And it looked like he was going to drop the gun a little bit, and then the kid in the white shirt, which I didn't know who it was at the time, took a couple steps more towards him, and he picked the gun back up and was pointing it directly towards his, like a headshot. And then they're jaw-jacking, and he took a couple more steps and stopped, and they were yakking, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? I'm thinking, I'm talking to my daughter, I'm like, this kid's going to shoot him. So I took a couple steps through the framing that I had, and I looked over and I yelled, I said, don't do it. And I don't know if they could hear me or not, you know, and I look over and I'm thinking to myself, my daughter's yelling, don't go over there, and I'm thinking, this kid's going to shoot this kid because he's walking up towards him for nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what was said, but I'm thinking, if this kid was yelling at the kid to slow down, why did he get out and pull a gun? And those are things that are going through my mind. I'm thinking, so I yelled again, I said, don't do it. Now he was probably 5 or 6, 7 feet away from him, and the kid's all the time that he's holding the gun out, he's on his cell phone. And I see them both conversing back and forth, and I don't know who was yelling what, like I said, because I couldn't hear what was being said. Next thing you know, I see the kid in the white t-shirt got close enough to try to whack the gun. And that's when his arm went down and I heard the pop. And then immediately he dropped like a rag doll. He fell right down to the ground. So I pulled out my phone, I'm calling 911, and it probably took, I don't know, it seemed like forever, but
Sure.
it rang 7, 8, 9 times before they picked up. And I said, look, I said, I need an ambulance on 20th Street between Franklin and McClellan. I said, this kid just shot this other kid, and he's laying on the ground, and the kid still got the gun waving around. Now Vinny come running out, and he's flipping out, you shot my brother, da-da-da, and this kid's pointing the gun at Vinny. And he's over there trying to see what's going on. I'm thinking, I'm going to go over there, but I'm thinking, I'm not going to go over there because this guy's still got a gun.
Right.
So I'm telling him, and the guys are telling me on the 911 call, get back in your house. I'm like, I'm not at my house. I'm at another. I'm trying to explain to him, I'm not at my house. I'm at this other
Are you
house.
still telling him what you
Yeah,
were saying,
and I'm
that
telling him, I'm
he
saying,
still had the gun?
right, and I said, the guy's got the gun. I said, he's got a blue shirt on. I thought it was a number 85, but I told him it was 85, but when I seen him when we came in downstairs, it was 89 on his shirt. But it was a blue shirt, and
Right.
he had tan, khaki shorts that were down almost to his calf, and he had sandals on, dark hair, glasses, and for a minute there, I'm on the phone, and he went back to his car. Now, I don't know if he put the gun in his car or he put it in his pocket. But now, while I'm talking to him on 911, Vinny's coming towards him, and every time he come towards him, the kid would put his hand in his pocket. I'm thinking, he's probably got his gun in his pocket. So I'm telling him, when you pull up, his kid's got a purple shirt on. I thought it was a number 85. I said, I don't know if he put the gun back in the car or if it's in his right-hand pocket, because he keeps putting his right hand back in his pocket. So when they pulled up, he ended up putting his hand up, and when the police cars pulled up. But in the meantime, everybody's running over there. The neighbors come running out, and then some guy, I didn't know he was a doctor, but they're trying to do CPR. Once they showed up, I walked over and looked, and he's just laying there, and his eyes are straight open, and he was losing color. And the ambulance still wasn't there, but there was probably 15 or 20 patrol cars all around the neighborhood. And I don't know exactly what verbally was said,
Right.
but and I have my own opinion. I mean, if somebody yelled at you to slow down, and you don't get out of your car and pull a gun.
Right.
Because somebody yelled at you to slow down. I mean, if you have all avenues to get and avoid a confrontation, you go. You don't stop and get out and pull a gun because someone yelled at you.
Right, so,
But,
as far
I don't
as-
know.
As far as his car was concerned, from what you saw, when he stopped the vehicle, was there anything blocking him? I mean, was he blocked?
No.
Was there any other cars
No,
in
no,
front
there
of
was-
him or behind him or
No,
next to
it
him?
was wide open. He was like, the road there's concave,
Sure.
or a little bit, well, convex, okay? And he's sitting towards the middle, a little bit to the right-hand side, and his driver door's open. There was nobody in front of him, there was nobody behind him.
Okay.
There was no vehicles behind him or in front of him. He was stopped in the middle of the street with his car door open.
How
And-
far would you
Point me
put
down.
yourself from the
From the
actual-
whole scenario?
The whole scenario. How
Well,
far were you when you were
if that middle of the street is, say, every side street's what, about 8.5, 16, 17, about 20 feet wide? Okay, because I got a 7.5 foot plow. I can do the side, and because I plowed a sidewalk there. They're probably in the middle, so they're 10 to 12 foot in the middle of the street. And those lots that I own there are 120 foot deep, and I'm about 15 feet into the back of the garage where I just ripped the back wall off. So I'm looking through the studs that I just put out, and I'm looking 120 feet across the lot, plus 10 or 15 feet I am in the garage, plus however far they are in the middle of the street. And I got 4 lots wide open there.
About 150 feet then, roughly.
Yeah, and I got 4 lots right there that are 40 foot there. There's 200 foot of open space
Right.
with 150 feet, and it's wide open. I can see everybody's car parked there, and this guy's parked right in the middle of the street.
So as you're looking at the suspect's vehicle parked in the middle of the
He's-
street, you're looking
He's
eastbound.
directly, no, I'm looking south.
Oh, you're looking directly south?
I'm looking directly south.
Okay. So
I'm working on a house at 2227 East 19th.
You're in the
And
north
every,
side.
right, and I'm in the backyard, and all this is wide open because I cleared it all out, and they were on the side street here. So I'm looking straight across these empty lots, across to what's going on over here, because I heard the yelling, and I could see them stop and see them pointing the gun, and I'm standing in the garage looking straight out. And, there's a couple trees over here, but I had a direct line of sight to what
Okay.
was going on. And I just couldn't believe that he shot him and he dropped.
So the victim in this case, he came walking from the west eastbound.
Correct.
So this vehicle had gone by
And stopped.
and stopped.
Right.
and then he got out, and their confrontation.
Correct. I didn't see him pull the car and stop, but
Okay.
I saw it from when the door was already open, the guy was standing in the middle of the street, and this kid was over next to Vinny's garage. Now, Randy Eastman's wife, Darlene, just put a house, double wide on a foundation there, and her driveway was almost even with the back of his car. So that driveway here, and then up the street here where Vinny's garage is, and then his side yard, and that's where all those people were, and they have a couple cars parked on the side, and I tell them all the time that they can park their cars in my side yard there, it doesn't matter. So there's a couple cars over here, so he come walking from over here. If he said something, the guy heard him and stopped way down here, got out of his car and pulled a gun. Now this kid's walking up, and there's John,
You saw
and that's
him walking towards
the guy with the gun.
white t-shirt walking towards.
Correct. But he wasn't running, he wasn't bull rushing, he was walking up and they were jawing at each other. You know, and what they said, I really didn't know because like I said, the radio was playing in the back porch. I heard him yelling, but I couldn't exactly hear what was said. But I seen the whole,
I guess I'm slightly
happened.
confused just a little bit. When this guy in a white t-shirt was he approaching toward the rear of the vehicle or toward the front of the car?
toward the rear. The car's facing this way, and he's walking up.
Car's facing eastbound.
Right, and he's
And
coming,
he's coming
here's
from the
Franklin, here's
west
McClellan.
toward the back of the car.
Right, he's walking towards the back, and this guy's standing, his car's parked here, and he's standing with the door open, he's standing like right here.
Okay, so he's standing next to the car.
He's standing next to the
basically.
back of his trunk, with his one hand on the phone, and the other hand with the gun in it, pointing it at him.
In the white t-shirts walking.
And the other
from
guys
west-
walk, and they were
west
jawing.
to east.
Correct. And they were jawing at each other, and they were arguing, and I'm thinking, you know, a lot of things went through my mind. I'm thinking, well, for one, why did this guy stop and pull a gun? So I didn't know exactly what happened, but I assumed it was because he said something, because I've heard them guys tell people before, when the kids were out, tell people to slow down. I'm just assuming that's what he said. I don't know the whole conversation that was said and what started the whole incident. But regardless, I mean, if somebody yells at you, you don't stop and pull a gun.
No.
You know, I mean, and that's not up to me to decide, but, you know, in the meantime, when they came up and got next to each other, I yelled, I said, don't do it, because I'm thinking, this guy's gonna shoot this kid. I said, don't do it, and my daughter was standing next to me, and I started walking that way, and she said, don't go over there, Dad, don't go, and I'm like, I said, I'm not going over there, and I started reaching for my phone, and she's like, well, call 911. I think she said something to that effect, and I'm focused on what was going on, and then that's when I seen him try to knock the gun, and that's when I seen him shoot him, and that's when I called 911. I think I looked back at my thing and said 806 was when I placed the call.
Okay.
And that's basically, he laid there, and while he was laying there, the other guy came over, and the lady next door came over, and all these people were running around. It was kind of chaos, and Vinny come running out, and he was the only one that came out first, and he was yelling. He said, I can't believe you shot my brother, and he was yelling, go get my gun or something, but now by that time I had walked over, but I didn't go past my property over, I was still in the back of my property.
What was this kid doing at this time? The kid that actually
He
fired
was
the
still
gun?
pointing, he was pointing the gun at Vinny,
Where was he standing?
still in the same spot, right by the back of the car. He was still standing there.
Toward the rear of the vehicle?
Toward the rear of the vehicle,
Okay.
and they were kind of off to the side of the road there, and when he approached him and he got shot, he fell and slumped down, and he was right on the side of the grass. Okay, when that happened there, he came towards him, and they were jaw-jacking, and next thing you know, he was laying in the grass after he shot him, and he walked over back towards the back of the car, and he was standing there, still had his hand on the phone, talking on the phone, and he was pointing the gun at Vinny now, when Vinny come out, and was flipping out that he shot his brother, you know, and I'm thinking, he's gonna shoot Vinny, and I'm telling him on the phone, I'm like, hey, look, I says, I can't go over there, I said, you better get an ambulance here, because, you know, this kid's still got a gun, they're telling me stay away, I said, the guy's still got a gun, I said, and I can't go running over there, because who knows who he's gonna shoot,
Right.
you know, and they're telling me to stay away, but, I mean, I'm thinking, if they don't get over there, this kid's laying there bleeding, and the guy's still waving the gun. In the meantime, he goes back to the car, and that's when I didn't see the gun. He either put it back in the car, or he had it in his pocket, because I couldn't see, because there was so many people running and yelling and screaming, and you know, I was looking at a couple different things after looking at him lay on the ground.
When you yelled, don't do it,
I was still over in the garage.
did you get any reaction from him? Do you think he heard you?
They didn't look my way or anything.
Okay.
You know, it was like I yelled, and you know, and I'm thinking if I would have thought, like, if I could have yelled, hey, yo, it ain't worth it, time out, I mean,
Right.
but you don't think of that, you know, and I'm
Sure.
thinking, what could I have done 100 and some feet away to stop this kid? Because it just looked like this kid was determined to shoot somebody. This kid's running up, talking, well, he didn't run, but he was walking up on him and they were talking, and I'm thinking, this kid's got a gun pointed at him the whole time. I'm thinking, well, what was so important about getting out and pulling a gun on him because he yelled at him or what? I don't know what happened, you know, but
Right.
I'm thinking, it just looked so stupid, and I'm thinking, this guy's got a gun pointed at him. I said, I looked at my daughter, I'm thinking, he's gonna shoot him. I said, and that's when I yelled, don't do it. I yelled, don't do it twice, and I didn't get any reaction from either one of them.
So as far as people in the roadway, the only ones you actually saw in the roadway was the guy with the gun and the guy with the white T-shirt.
Correct.
That was it. It wasn't like there was a crowd of people
No, there was
already.
not at that time, no, there was,
Okay.
they were out there by themselves, John. No.
After the shot was fired, did he go over and check on the guy? Did anything else happen right afterwards, or did he just stay right there by his car?
He didn't go check on him or anything that I could see. He went back over to his car, and that's where I think, well, he was pointing the gun at Vinny first. Okay, but then after that, whenever I was watching everybody else run around, that's when I think he went back into his car, and he either put the gun back in his car or he put it back in his pocket. Because when the next time I looked over at him, he was still on the phone, but I didn't see the gun, but he kept putting his hand in his right-hand pocket, and that's what I told him on 911. I said, when you pull up, it's the kid in the purple shirt, and I thought the number was 85, but it was 89. He's got tan shorts on that looked like cargo pants, and he had flip-flops on. And I said, he's got his hand in his right-hand pocket. I said, so if you pull up on him, he's either got the gun in the car, or he keeps, every time Vinny took a step towards him and was yelling and screaming, because he shot his brother, he kept putting his right hand in his pocket. And that's what I told him on the 911 tape.
That'd been nice to know ahead of time.
Well, that's
we
what I
were
was-
the first ones there,
Yeah,
so.
but I mean, that's what I was telling him on the
Nice to know.
911 tape, is that, you know, this is the kid, he's standing in the middle of the road, and he's got his hand in his right-hand pocket, he's got the cell phone in his left hand, and he either put the gun in the car, or it's in his right-hand pocket.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I think that pretty much sums up everything. It's a pretty clear picture. Is there anything that you can think of that we might need to know about this? Have you ever seen this kid in the neighborhood before?
No,
Do you know?
there's so many people that travel up and down that road, it just, I mean, the kid that got shot, that's Vinny's brother, and those kids are always in the neighborhood, and Vinny's out there in the summer, he's working on his race car, you know, and they're motorheads, and, you know, they got friends stopping by, and he works on their car, and I mean, the neighborhood's, you know, come a long way. I've been there since 1988, so I've been there 21 years, going on 22, you know, and I've done a lot of work and a lot of, you know, time invested in property and stuff there. You know, the neighborhood's getting better, and, you know, I got good neighbors up there, and since Vinny moved in, and Randy's wife built her house next to there, and the other guy, my other neighbor, Jim, works at GE, and, you know, everybody in the neighborhood knows everybody, and it's gotten to be a decent neighborhood. You know, and for somebody to drive through because somebody yells at them to slow down or whatever was said, to pull a gun and shoot somebody, I mean, to me, that's, like I said, it's not my call to be judgmental here, but I mean, I think it's pretty stupid that, you know, if he had an opportunity to keep driving, you know, why get out of your car and pull a gun? I mean, it was senseless and stupid, you know? Now, should somebody have kept, I wouldn't have walked up on someone with a gun, but I mean, I don't know what was said.
Right.
You know, because I couldn't hear what was going on when they were verbally talking to each other. But, you know, I just don't understand the whole scenario. I just can't believe it happened right there in front of me. It was just never expected to go out there to work on something and see somebody pull a gun out and an argument and the kid shoot the guy. It was stupid.
All right. You have anything else? All right. Well, if that's it, we're gonna conclude this
Okay.
statement.
I don't know.
I forgot to mention off camera is myself, Sergeant Don Dacus, the Erie Police Department, as well as Detective Mark Rosenthal. 22:43 hours.
'09, the time is 16:46 hours. My name is Detective Jim Spagle. I'm here with Detective John Peters and Travis Salas, correct?
Yes.
And also in the room is Melissa Ferraro, right? You guys are, you know you're being recorded right now?
Yes.
Okay. You can just talk normal, you know, just look at whoever's asking the questions. We'll just start right from the beginning. On last Saturday, which is the 25th, you worked, right?
Yes, we all work. Me, Jay, and Vinny. We're working. It's a half a day Saturday. I said, you know, it's a good day out. Let's have a picnic. Decided to have a picnic at Vinny's house. And
We always have.
showed up around 6 o'clock.
Take your time, take your time.
And I just was there about a half hour, you know, fired up the grill. Jane then brought some chicken over, you know, just want to have a good time with the family.
Mhm.
There, but it's about 2 hours. He decided the clouds were rolling in and it was raining. And wanted to go put his T-tops on, roll up the windows. We were cleaning stuff up in the yard. Go inside, throw some trash away, come back outside. I hear Amanda Hayes say help. I go to her and see what she needed help. She was covering her kids and
She's right behind her car door right there.
right on the passenger side, yes. She was covering her kids up, said help, call 911, and I look up and there's a guy with a gun, Jay. I run back in. I get the phone at the same time. Vinny, his brother Vinny's coming out, and I told him, somebody's got a gun on your brother. I go in and grab the phone, come back out. Before that, Vinny took off running as fast as he could. I come back out with the phone. I get to the driveway at the back of the truck. And I heard the gunshot. And I ran over there.
And when you say out by the truck was in the driveway, Vinny's driveway,
In
right?
Vinny's driveway, yes, which is on 20th Street. When I was running over there, the guy stopped. The guy that shot Jay stopped me.
How do you stop you?
He just said, "Who's that, Trav?" I said, "Joel." You just shot my brother-in-law. Well, why? And he didn't know why, and I told him to put the gun away. He listened to me, put the gun in the pocket, and he stayed there talking on his cell phone.
He said, I don't know what.
I don't know why.
Did he say
And
that?
Travis said something to you too. He just said something to you, Trav, or?
That's Trav. Joel was.
I'm Travis.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he said Trav to you? Is that
Yeah,
what
he said who? He said, "Who's
They
that?"
graduated.
He said,
Joel
who-
said, who's that?
Yeah, because I graduated with Joel Atkins is his name. I graduated with him in 2004 from
What-
Iroquois.
From Miracle, okay.
Anyways, he stopped me. He said my name, Trav. He said, "Who's that, Trav?" I said, "Joel. I just shot my brother." I said, "Why?" And he said, "I don't know why." I told him to put the gun away. He put it in his pocket. Well, he's still talking on his cell phone. And I just said bye, Jay, and told him, "Come on, man. Come on, we need you."
You said you saw the shooter pointing the gun at Vinny?
He said he was gonna shoot. He said he was gonna shoot. He said he was gonna shoot Vinny too. Vinny said he was gonna shoot.
Where did you hear that? Was it after the shot?
Yeah, it was.
Before- and before
Well,
you got
Vinny.
to him, or-
No, Vinny told me. Sorry.
Okay.
Vinny told me that he was gonna shoot.
Okay, so
But
you
after
hear
Vinny
shoot him
was
too.
holding Jason,
I didn't know, I
was he
didn't-
pointing the gun at Vinny after Vinny was holding Jay?
No, because I told he listened to me and put the gun away.
Okay.
Just stick to what,
Yeah,
whatever
you-
you saw, that's all you really... I know your mind wants to connect the
It,
dots.
Man,
I just feel bad for all those kids, they all saw it.
You stated that Joel put the gun away, he put it in his
He
pocket.
put it in his right pocket.
There was nothing stopping him to keep driving,
No,
nothing
no,
at all,
He could have just kept going.
or to get out of the car.
Why would you get out with a gun? I don't know why.
Amanda said they just saw him.
Did he say
last
anything
week.
else? Did Joel say anything else?
No, he looked shocked, like he
What did
didn't know
he
what he
say?
just did. He was talking on his cell phone and just was shocked.
Could you hear
I
anything
think he was
was saying
shocked
on the
because
phone?
he knew me.
Could you hear anything he was saying on the phone?
No, I can't even remember. I mean, I can't even remember. He was talking on the phone. I can't remember what he said.
Okay.
It's just happened so quick, guys.
Did you
Just-
see any confrontation but two hands-on between the two people, between Jay and Joel?
No, I didn't. No, I did not.
When that shot went off, where were you? You're just coming out of the yard with the phone?
I was-
or-
Yeah, I was coming out with the phone at the back of the truck,
Back of the truck.
and when I heard pop,
And that's that General Tire back pickup truck that was there?
It's my brother Vinny's, he
it
got
used to
it.
be. Because Vinny worked
Okay.
there too, so he bought
Oh,
off
okay,
his
so
boss.
that's not one, that's the
That's
truck
it,
down?
yeah.
Okay.
So the few seconds leading up to the shot, you had been behind that fence probably, right? Walking through the yard, or?
Yeah.
Running
Well,
with the
no,
phone?
because when I was at the back of the truck when the shot went off.
Before the shot.
I know,
Oh,
but 20
before the
seconds
shot,
before
oh.
that, you're walking through the yard, right?
Yeah, I was running through the yard, and
You were outside, you heard Amanda, you
She
ran
said
back
go-
in, you went to say go get a phone, and you
she
went...
said she just said, I seen her with her kids there.
How close did you get to him, man?
I was at the back of the truck too. I was right there at the back of the truck. I seen her with her kids. She said call 911, and I look up with a guy with a gun. She said call 911. I just run in, grabbed the phone, and at the same time Vinny was coming outside, and I told him that somebody had a gun on his brother.
Was Vinny just coming out of the back of the house too?
He was coming out of the side door. He was in that. He was in
He's
the house.
coming out, you're going in?
Yep. I was running up there to get the phone. He's coming out. I said, somebody's got a gun on your brother. And I went in. He ran as fast as he could. I went in, got the phone, come back out. Like I said, I got to the back of the truck, and
He's beating himself up, he said he didn't make it there in time.
he,
I know there's nothing. Where was the phone located in the house? In the back? Did you have to go through? 'Cause
I had to go through. I mean,
You must,
The
cause you,
cell phones, I mean,
It was
cordless,
a
so you
house
could run,
phone.
look for it.
okay. So you weren't in the house long though, were you?
no, maybe
30 seconds?
Shit, probably not even. It just happened so quick. Not even 30 seconds. Not even. Just so shook up. I'm just shook up that I know it's good too. Wow.
But for the kids even say he doesn't even know why he did it. He does it.
Did you hear Jason say anything after he fell, or?
Yeah, he said ow or
He just
ow,
grabbed it.
That's the
ow.
only,
That's it, and I seen him flop on the ground, and
but
that's
he
what
never spoke.
Vinny said he tried to talk, but he started
he
puking.
threw up. I was there to see. I let him next to me. I worked with him. We all work. Now we gotta go back to work.
Now, we started to get that family connection, right, how you fit in.
Okay, my sister Mandy Salas
Okay, Mandy.
is Vinny's
Engaged to Vinny.
engaged to Vinny
engaged.
Sack,
Okay.
which is Jay's.
No, Amanda's a
Amanda-
friend, family friend,
So Mandy
close
is-
family friend,
is
yeah.
real
Okay.
good friends with my sister
Okay.
and Jay.
Did you work 12 to 5 as well, that day?
No, they were told
No,
12.
eight to
Oh,
12.
8 to 12, I
8 to
took
12 on a
it.
Saturday.
And then, let me ask you this, was anybody drinking at the picnic It's not, I just,
Yeah, because I know, right, yeah, because his girlfriend, the paramedics asked who, her,
Everybody was.
oh, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
pretty much, yeah, I mean, we're all of age, you know.
No, I'm
this
not,
and-
I just trying to get the picture though.
But I remember her,
Jason was
When-
just cooking the chicken right before that happened, wasn't he?
after we ate the chicken, you know,
Yeah.
he scrapped up some, you know, some some kind of sauce, you know, put on the chicken like he normally does,
Uh-huh.
because he makes the best chicken, and he made some kind of sauce out of scratch. Ate the chicken, no sooner after
Nobody was
that.
drunk or anything here?
It was still early though.
Yeah.
It was still early, I know, you know,
You guys were only there for what, 2 hours before it happened? Not even?
2 hours, not, because I think it happened around 8 o'clock or 8 o'clock, something like that.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, well,
You can ask.
I mean, if
put
you want a copy of that note that my nephew wrote, I mean, he's
probably
saw-
tell him to hold on to it.
Okay.
We'll have
Because
to-
he wrote it without anybody even asking him to, and he left
Okay.
it on the table for everyone to see. And it says like all the details and everything.
Well, maybe we'll get a copy.
My daughter's like, I thought it was a firework, Mommy. Then I saw my Uncle Jay laying on the ground, and Kim told me to see that.
No.
No. Let me end this interview, let me get it off tape. It's 16:57 hours, we end this interview.